everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of Relivious, sponsored by no one, funded by no one, and brought to you by Ariel Flores. This episode is going to be a lot more lighthearted and definitely not as deep as the last episode, which was something I just needed to get off my chest to feel better about. This one is going to be way more fun because it's kind of the theme of the summer, which is Young Hearts Run Free. And I know it's an ongoing joke on social media that it's Young Hoes Run Free, but I love that. I love a good joke. I love a good pun. This episode, I'm going to be taking you guys through a laundry list of just celebrities and famous people that I've dated or talked to or have had relationships with, and some that I've just met and had funny encounters with. I think that a lot of people have a lot of questions about how I end up at some of these concerts and events and parties, and truly it's a good question because I think we're all wondering, how can you get into the circle of a celebrity? And it's a good question. Let's just get started. I wrote a list of people and I know it seems really bad to have a long list of people, but more than half of these people I didn't even have a relationship with. I don't even know, I guess you could say. Met in passing when I was somewhere, and I'm going to tell you all about it. So I think let's just get started. One of the names on my list that I think that you guys are going to be really interested to find out about is Trey Songz. I haven't seen Trey Songz in a really long time, but I do have a funny story about meeting him and being backstage at his concert. And yeah, I think that's what I'll say to start off with. So me and my friend are out at the nightclub. Apparently she's met Trey Songz before. They're friends and we're all partying, and I guess she asks him to come, and he ends up popping up in our booth at the table that we're at and is partying, and everyone's like, how the hell did Trey Songz get here? Which is really fun. And then later on, he did a concert in our city, and that same friend went to the concert. She actually went with someone else, and then one of my coworkers was like, I have really great tickets that my boyfriend bought me. Do you want to come? And I was like, of course I do. So we went to the concert and actually met up with my friend there, and she was like, we're going to be going backstage. And I'm like, okay. So we go backstage, and he has like a security guard. I think his name is Bully. I think his name was Bully, which is like just the funniest name for a security guard because that's kind of what they give as Bully. But in any case, he's there, and it's just like a group of us girls and like a few guys, and then there's a girl that I actually met on Instagram that's there who's styling him for the trip, the whole entire tour trip. And I end up catching up with her, and like I'm wearing this like black turtleneck sweater with like black leather pants and like these little black like cat ear things. Yes, I was wearing cat ears. I don't know who I thought I was, Ariana Grande or something at the Trey Songz concert. Anyways, so he comes up and he like puts his arm around me and my friend, and he is like hitting on me. And at that point I was like kind of uncomfortable because I was unsure what the situation was with him and my other friend, like not the friend that I came with who brought me on her tickets, the friend that got us backstage. She never really like confirmed whether or not they were like messing around or like anything like that, but I'm not that girl, you know. So I was kind of like shutting him down. And then I remember Bully, I remember this very vividly because I like kept shutting Trey Songz down, and Bully like joked, he was like, yeah, she's the devil. I'm the devil because I don't want to have a threesome with Trey Songz tonight. I'm good. But I just remember it being so funny. We ended up, I think we like smoked a joint or something with them, and I got so paranoid. And then I ended up running into someone that I knew and was like not talking to or like hanging out with anymore. And I was like already paranoid. So I was like, oh no, 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 no. Like, I don't want to be here. I just didn't feel comfortable there anymore. I was like, I just want to go. So they were talking about going to do something else after and all this other stuff. And I was like, no, thanks. Like, I'm going to go. And this is like after he already called me the devil. So I was like, you guys don't need me around. I'm literally the devil. So yeah, that's how I met Trey Songz, which is really fun. My friend, from what I know, never hooked up with him. He did end up having that threesome, but it just wasn't with her, or the girl that she came with. It was like someone else completely. So just a funny story. And then who else from this list would you guys really want to know that I like met? So I did meet Floyd Mayweather with that same friend. I don't know what was going on that weekend, but he had come and they were in the hotel. And I remember, I think Tori Brooks was there, like a few other people. He had like a girlfriend at the time, and she like hid in the room, and we were all like in the living room. And I remember very vividly the conversation with Mayweather, because he's like comedic in a way that is like, you almost don't believe it at first. Like, and I also remember there being like a large stack of money in this hotel's kitchen, like right next to the sink. And I was just like, this is just like another planet. I don't even know where I am right now. Like, this is weird. But it was in Dallas, because I'm from Dallas. All this stuff happens in Dallas, or if it happens in LA, you know, I'll let you know that too. But so we're there, we're in the hotel, and he's talking to me and my friend, and he's like telling us how beautiful of kids he makes. Like, they're so gorgeous, showing us all these pictures of his kids. And then he's telling us a story about how he cannot go and like pick up girls at the mall because, you know, he has a security people, and like everyone's like looking, and like it's so hard. And I was just like, in the back of my mind was thinking, wow, he's just a normal person who's clearly having trouble dating. Like the rest of us on a daily basis, just trying to meet people. But it's like a completely different scenario. Like, you're covered by bodyguards, so there's just no way to really get in there, you know. But yeah, that was so funny. And I remember him telling us that like if we had gone on jet skis, and I think I had or something, I was like, yeah, you know, I've been on them before, or that I hadn't. I don't remember what I said at the time, but he was like, did you know that they're not jet skis? They're sea-doos. Yeah, you're not supposed to call them jet skis. You're supposed to call them sea-doos. And I remember that very vividly because it just gave rich. Okay. Okay, let's move on to Michael B. Jordan, who I also met when I was with that same friend that I was with when I went to see Mayweather. Anyways, so she and I met Terrence J in a nightclub, and he was so nice. He was so kind. I remember him letting us drink as many bottles as we want because they were giving them to him for free. So I was just like, this guy's dope. Like, we should definitely hang out with him more. So my friend ends up getting his information, and they start like, you know, chatting it up and things like that. So he ends up inviting her out for like a mini tour he's doing between like Philly, Washington, and New York. And she wanted like a friend to come with her. So of course, you know, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm in there. Like, he was super cool. Like, I'm so down to go. So I end up going with her on this trip. We fly into, I think we fly into, I want to say we flew in directly to DC, and we stayed in the same hotel as Michael Ealy and like everyone who was with Terrence J about to go to the White House, which was like Lala and like a bunch of other people I know, because whenever we went out to the nightclub with them, in DC. Lala was at the table and like a bunch of other people were at the table, and I remember him asking us if we wanted to get on the mic in front of everyone like all the celebrities were doing, and we were just like, no, no thank you. We're like hiding in the back. We're like getting drunk. And then from DC we ended up going to Philly, and we were gonna bowl, and they were like, you know, you're gonna meet some of our friends we're gonna bowl with. And that's whenever we picked up Michael B. Jordan and his trainer. And I remember us going to like a bowling alley in Philly, and it was like, I think it was like too busy there. Like we couldn't get in, or not like we couldn't get in, but it was like gonna be like too crowded or something like that. So they ended up changing their mind, and we didn't end up going to the bowling alley in Philly. We left and we went to the Lucky Strike in New York. And while we're sitting down at the Lucky Strike, like I have no idea who Michael B. Jordan is. I'm just like, oh, you know, he's cute. I'm here single. And I'm like, hey, like, what's your name? Like, you know, what do you do? And he's like, oh, I'm in porn. And it still makes me laugh to this day because I like truly believed it. And I was like, oh, okay, so he knows how to book. That was like my first thought was, oh yeah, he's good in bed. But he saved his number in my phone as porn star. Like he told me his name was Michael. He didn't say like his last name or anything like that, and I didn't know who he was. So like I took his information, and we ended up going out to the club. I think it was either that day. I think it was that day after we went bowling. I think we went out to an actual club that Terrence was hosting, and I think Michael went with us, and we got so sloshed. Like me and my friend, like we're on a table that's on a stage, like in front of the whole club, but it's like an underground club. It's like a cute little like speakeasy type situation. Had like a big smiley face. I can't tell you what the name of the club was. Can't even tell you what year this was. It might have been 2016 because I have a picture in front of the White House. It was the Obama White House. Go Obama. But we get so sloshed at this club that my friend like breaks her phone and everything. And Terrence is like telling us like, this is my job. Like you guys need to wind down pretty much. Like he's getting paid for the hostings. We're just the girls who are showing up with him. So like we're partying a little too hard. Like this, he's trying to do his job and we're getting plastered. So here we are at the club. We end up leaving. And Michael's like, come back to my place with me. And I was like, no, because we're in New York. And like, I think this might have been one of my first times there, maybe the second or like third. And I was like, I just don't know you. Like, I can't go back to your place. I was really always like very cautious as a person in general. So like, I didn't go back with him to his place. And I still regret it to this day because we ended up talking and texting and like FaceTiming and all of this stuff for like the next, I want to say like 6 or 8 months, maybe even longer. And we never got a chance to actually see each other in person again after that, but we did grow like a strong relationship. I ended up breaking things off because I'm a brat a little bit, and I'm gonna be honest, it was a really bratty thing that happened. It was like, I think it was gonna be Memorial Day or 4th of July, and he was supposed to come to Texas, to Dallas, Texas, of all places, to see me. And he was gonna rent a lake house and like bring some of his friends, and we were gonna like make a whole weekend out of it. And at the very last minute, he told me he was like not gonna come and that he had to go to a Fantastic Four premiere for like the Fantastic Four movie he was in. And I was just like, pretty much fuck this. Like I'm done with this. Like I don't want to do it anymore. Because at this point we had been talking for like such a long time and just like had not seen each other. And I kind of just felt like this was kind of like my last straw of like, either we see each other or we just don't anymore. And I definitely lost it a little bit and was just like, okay, like I knew you were gonna do this to a girl like me, like just a normal girl. And yeah, I was kind of sad about it for like a good amount of time. I feel like shortly after that, I met my now annulled ex-husband. So yeah. So just a tough ending, I feel like, for me and Michael B. Jordan. If I could go back, I might have handled things a little bit differently. My frontal lobe was not developed. And yeah, okay, so who else? Okay, so some of these are gonna go into a very specific party that I was at that will literally introduce me to a good portion of some of these people. So I'll wait for them. So I did very briefly see, if that's what you want to call it, CD Lamb. And let me be completely honest, best abs ever. I met him when I was with a completely different group of friends out in Dallas, and we went to the club, and I just like instantly took a liking to him. I didn't know who he was. I don't ever know who anybody is. I'm gonna be honest. It's very rare. As far as like sports are concerned, I just don't know. I'm into sports. I'll watch sports, but like I just don't know who everyone is. So yeah, I met him whenever we were at the club. I was with like a group of like 3 girls, and I just remember sitting down on the sofa, and like he sat down like, you know, between my legs below me, and I just like reached down and like happened to like run my hand up his stomach, and he had like the most defined abs in the whole world, and I was like, oh my god, it's so hot. Could not control myself, and so me and my friends obviously get sloshed, and I think there was just like a situation where like I think one of them had previously met CD and like wanted to like talk to him but like hadn't yet or something, and no one had like dibs or anything. Like I don't think he like knew anyone in particular to be like who he was with, or you know, anyone was seeing each other like going on dates or anything. So of course I took the opportunity. But he had this like big party bus. Like after the club, we all get on this party bus, we like go to his house, and of course, I mean, he and I are 2 grown consenting adults. We hook up numerous times, and I just remember him saying, I'm gonna put a baby in you, and I was just like drunk, you know how drunk is. Oh yeah, okay, where do you want me to come? Oh yeah, well I have a fetish, okay, and it's sick, but I don't want you to come on me, okay? I have OCD, I don't want to clean myself, okay? It's a little much. I'm really a come inside me girl. So of course 2 or 3 times that night we hook up, you know, we're doing all the good stuff, and I just remember us like calling and texting and stuff afterwards. But at the time I lived in Dallas and he lived in the area that I live in now, and which is like a good distance away, and like I just didn't know him very well, and I kind of had like a panic attack the day after we hooked up and was like, oh, I'm gonna, you know, go and take a plan B. And I don't think he thought that I was like serious about it, but I really was. Like I, you know, really feared teenage pregnancy as an adult. So I did do all that stuff. I think he thought like I was full of shit. Like, you know, you have an athlete pretty much put you in the perfect position to become a baby mama, you know, right away. And a lot of girls do jump at that opportunity, but I just didn't see him like that. We're both Aries, like we're both, I mean, from what I knew with like living with our sibling, like pretty much taking care of our families, like doing everything we could to take care of our families. I was like, I'm not gonna do that to him. Like if we were in love, maybe. So of course, like I didn't keep our child. But I swear within 3 months, he was like calling and texting me back, and it felt like he was looking for his baby. Like, hey girl, like it's been 3 months. Like you should be, you know, getting a positive result by now. And I just remember cracking up about it because I was like, wow, that could have been the opportunity. And this was like a little bit like I want to say like not even a year before he signed his big contract, like biggest contract I think he's ever signed or something like that. Like I don't know sports, but you know what I mean. And so every time I talk to someone about it, they're like, why didn't you have this baby? I'm like, yeah, no. But I will admit, A1 in bed and just a great guy all the way around. So sweet. He was so sweet and just so hot. I mean, abs are really it for me. There's a few more people on here. So I actually met Chris Brown whenever I was at the club with the friends that I met Terrence J with, and we ended up going on his tour bus, like me and like my 3 girlfriends, and then Chris actually went back with 2 girls while we were on the bus, and I know who the 2 girls are. One of them is actually a really big like import model in Dallas, and like another girl, I don't know who the other girl was, but anyways, they too go back with him in the room on the bus. You know, they have their little orgy. Me and my friends are all like just drinking and kicking it outside, and we actually go to another club to pick up Karuchi. So Chris was hosting one club, that's where we were, and then we get on the bus, we go with them on the bus to the next club, and that's where he picks up Karuchi. And Karuchi comes on the bus and she is livid that there are girls in the back who Chris apparently just, which I think it was just like their dynamic. I don't know. Like, I've seen a lot of stuff in LA. Like, everyone's pretty much a swinger. I don't know how to describe it. I mean, not me, obviously. And it was just like norm. I don't know. So I feel like as far as their situation, I don't know what the situation was, but Karuchi kicked those girls off the bus and left them at the club that we picked her up at. And I vaguely remember this. So yeah, so that's when I met Chris and his friends. Later on, I'm going to tell you guys a story that's going to introduce you to like a bunch of people who I met at a party at once. Let's see. So that is a good amount of people that I have met. There was a situation where I dated Deion Sanders Jr. Deion Sanders' son. I met him at a pool party at their house. They had a really nice house, and I actually got to sit like behind the scenes for the reality show they were shooting. I think it was like Playbook or something like that. It was so nice and so fun. We never like hooked up or anything like that. I mean, when I was dating Deion Sanders Jr., I don't think I was 20 yet. I think I was still really young, and I know for sure that he was at SMU or like somewhere abouts, because he just like lived close by, and so I would see him all the time. I did have like a very brief relationship with one of the part owners of the La La Land cafes, and I fell in love with that guy. It's like a Middle Eastern guy, or like Persian or something like that, and I don't know, like older, and I met him out at the club. I just remember the first day that I met him, he owned clubs, so he was actually at a different club than one that he owned, but he knew my friends, the ones that I went with Terrence J with. I remember the first day that I met him, he purchased the bucket of flowers from the guy who sells individual roses in the club, and I don't know how much that was. Maybe give him like $100. It's like, give me all those roses, or something. But he comes up to me and just hands me like a big bucket of roses in the nightclub, and I'm like so stupid. Like, I'm just purely naive because I have no idea like what's going on. So I just start handing the roses out to people like willy-nilly, just like, just having the best time ever. And I have no idea in my mind, like, he's like coming on to me, like he likes me, he thinks I'm cute. I just thought like, oh, this is such a nice guy. Like maybe he like works for the flower people. I'm doing promo or something. Idiot. Okay, so he actually has us host a night, me and my friends, like at one of his clubs, and this is like one of like the funnest clubs to go to at the time. He has us host, like puts us on the flyer. So if you ever see me on the flyers, like it's like those type of parties that he had, or like, you know, our group of friends had, and gave us free bottles and like all this stuff, and like pretty much told my friend that like he really wanted to like pretty much hang out with me and like get to know me and stuff like that. And I don't know why I was just so shy about him. Like, he owns the club, like, not me. I know he's not trying to talk to me left. So we didn't end up hanging out then. I mean, it was like a while later before we started actually like hanging out and things. And then I found out like he was like married but like getting separated and had kids and things like that. So like I don't know what ended up happening with this, but I do vaguely remember a conversation that we had in his kitchen where I was kind of being a bitch. And he was like telling me about his childhood and just saying that like he had hard upbringing because, you know, he, you know, was raised at boarding school and things like that. And I just remember thinking like, oh, like what a blessing, like, you know, to have your education paid for and like get a good education, you know, a family that just genuinely like is there for and loves you, is kind of like how I like wrote it off as. And I think he kind of took offense a little. So I was just like at least you had parents, like even though you didn't get to see them, like at least you had parents, you know. And I just remember that being like a really like sour conversation because he's like, you know, your childhood couldn't have been that bad. And I'm like, I would never describe my childhood to someone like that. But I just always remember telling him like, I know this isn't gonna work, like I'm who I am, like you're who you are. Like I just had such low self-esteem in general. Like I just didn't think, you know, I'm in like a multi-million-dollar house in Bel Air in LA with him, and this is like a completely different like night in general, but and I can't even like hook up with him because I just feel like so small in general, like, you know, just telling him that I just feel so small, you know, like kind of like it just isn't gonna work. Like I'm either just gonna be someone you hook up with and then it's gonna be nothing, or like, you know, whatever. But so I remember that conversation, and back to the conversation we had, I remember that conversation because I feel like I was being really, really, really mean. And I remember waking up in the morning, like after we had hooked up and everything, like leaving the house and like looking at a chandelier, which was an ugly chandelier, I'm gonna be honest. It was like chandelier with like these little like lamp shades on it, like teeny little lamp shades, and I was like, ew, like, that's an ugly chandelier. And I just remember being so mean. I was just like drunk. I mean, we always went out to the club and things like that before we all hung out anyways. And, you know, usually when I was at his house, we would all go to the club, then we would have an after party at his house. Then, you know, everyone would leave and I would be there with them. So I just remember leaving that morning, like just being like really mean about, you know, how he felt about growing up in general, like the night before, and then like being so mean about the chandelier whenever I left in the morning. And then whenever he started La La Land Kind Cafe, I was like, oh my god, like me being a fucking bitch probably like literally weighed on him, because I ended up running into him when I was at the nail shop, because he opened a La La Land like right next door to the nail shop that I would go to all the time. And I was like sitting in the chair like getting my pedicure and like my nails done, and I seen him walk past the window, and I like call my friend on the phone, and I'm like, oh my god, like this guy that I'm so in love with literally just walked past the window, and like I don't know what he's doing here. And she was like, well, why don't you go out and ask him? And I was like, I'm in the middle of getting pedicure and like my manicure, whatever. So I go outside of the nail shop when I'm done, and there he is. And he's like telling me that he's opening the La La Land, which is like, I think it was like the second location ever. And it was like in the area where I live, like in Addison or like North Dallas. And it was like right next door to the nail shop that I usually went to. And I was like, you know, oh, that's so cool. And he was like telling me about the matcha and like all this stuff, because La La Land is kind of started off as like matcha, went to coffee and like pastries and like things like that. Now it's just like everywhere. But yeah, so I was like, oh, that's so cool. And I was like, and I think he had a girlfriend at the time, and I just like let it slip. I was like, you know, I miss you. And I'm like, now I think about it and I'm like, he probably made La La Land Kind Cafe to just like genuinely remind me to be nice. And so it like is for like foster, it gives like jobs to people who have aged out of foster system. So I just thought that was like really beautiful, and I was just like, wow, I wonder if that was like ever meant for me based on our conversation, but maybe, I don't know. I just always thought that was really sweet. But that's just like another person. I'm not going to drop a name on that. If you want to do your own research, that will be on you. Okay, and then okay, so I have a story about how I met Sterling Shep and OBJ in New York, and it's just funny. And I went out to New York because I had a friend who was playing for Green Bay before, and he ended up getting traded to New York, and he asked me to come out to New York just to like have a fun weekend. And so I went out, and he and I go to the club, and we're in a section, and he's like, I feel like he's not like a starter or anything like that. I don't know anything about sports, but he just wasn't like how all the other guys had been there like forever. He had just like come onto the team and things like that. So like we're at the table, and OBJ is there and Sterling Shep is there, and I remember him introducing me to them and just being like, OBJ wants to talk to you. And like I didn't know who anybody was. Like I really never ever know who anybody is. Like I watch sports, but like if you ask me who the players are, I'd be like, I have no idea. So I didn't know who he was, and I just was like, oh, okay. And like, you know, said hi to him, like, you know, was friendly. Thought he was cute and everything, but I was like, you know, like I'm here with my friend. Like I'm not gonna like ditch my friend for like another guy, like whatever. And then he also introduced me to Sterling Shep and was like, you know, Sterling Shep is gonna be going out to Dallas soon. I don't know if he said like to play like for the Dallas team or what it was for that he was going to be coming out, but he was like, you should take his number, you know, and then like whenever he comes to town, like you can show him around, blah blah. And I was just like, okay, yeah, I'm down, like I can do that. I don't think I did end up taking his number. I think I said that I would, and then I just like didn't, or maybe I did. It's really hard for me to remember because this is a really long time ago, but we're at Ace of Spades, and it was the funnest night ever. My friend and I ended up getting into a big fight that night because he like brought me there on the pretense that like we were gonna be like hanging out, he and I, but one of the bottle girls at the club, I guess he was like messing around with, and that's why he wanted me to like sit around and like hang out with OBJ or like hang out with Sterling Shep. And I was just like, dude, like why did you even have me come? Like I could have stayed home for this shit. But anyways, okay, so let's get to a good portion of the people that are on this list, and it all has to do with like one party. Yeah, so I am in LA, I'm at my friend's, and we're just like girls, you know, like we're laying by the pool, we're having fun. This is literally like my mini getaway. I don't remember what time of year it was. I think it was summer. And she asked me if I wanted to go to a birthday party. And I was like, yeah, I'm down. And she was like, okay, so one of my friends who works for the liquor brand that's like, you know, sponsoring part of the party, or like, you know, gonna have drinks at the party or something like that, is gonna get us on the list. All we have to do is like, you know, get dressed and go. So me, her, and another girl end up going to this like ginormous house, and there's like a crazy line outside, and they put us in this like shuttle and like bring us up this hill because it's like on a really big slant up this hill. And then we go to this party, and like as soon as you walk in, they have like drinks. They're like handing you drinks. There's like a table that's set up that gives you free weed, because you know, this is LA, it's all legal. It's just like old school Hollywood buffet. So you come in, you know, they're handing you drinks already, there's open bars everywhere, and then, you know, there's all these rooms with all these like ambiances, and like outside there's all these balloons and tables, and it's literally like if a club was an entire, like, I want to say like $16 million mansion, that's exactly what this party was. And I didn't know like whose party it was exactly, because they just said like, let's go to a birthday party, and like our friend's gonna get us on the list, and you know, things like that. And this happens in LA, like you're there and somebody's like, hey, you want to go do something fun, and you just end up at like the craziest shit. So we're at this party, and there's like multiple layers to this party, and I remember us trying to go down to like the main room where the DJ is, and there's like a stage, and Shay Mitchell is coming up the stairs with her security guard, and I'm like, is this real life? Like, are we in a movie? Like, is this real life? And you know, because it's legal there, I'm on edibles, you know, I've smoked, I'm drinking, like I'm literally having the time of my life. Okay, I'm in LA, this is a birthday party, I'm gonna have a blast. So I'm like, is this really real? You know, like all this stuff I'm seeing, is this real? Because you know, there's a lot of celebrities here. So something ends up happening where everyone ends up in the main room where the DJ is, and there's a stage with a riser, and there's also like behind the stage like an outdoor area, like big sliding doors that open to like an outdoor like patio area. So somehow me and my friend end up on these risers, and on these risers is Chris Brown. There's I believe Tyga was there, I don't know for sure. Drake and his security guards, and like a bunch of other people, like everyone who was anyone was like on this riser. And then all the other people were like, you know, in the party room, like dancing on the floor, and you know, like pretty much looking up to the stage area, like where we are on the risers. And I remember my friend being like, okay, we're gonna get close to Drake. She's like, okay, we're gonna get close to Drake. And she just starts like beelining, and I'm like, I just pulled out a joint, like I'm smoking it, like I'm starting to get a little paranoid now, because I'm like, I have social anxiety, and it's not all the time, okay? It's not all the time. But like in situations where I feel like a lot of people are just seeing me and maybe making immediate assumptions, I just, it clicks on, and I'm like, oh, like I start feeling like the walls are closing in on me a little bit. So me and my friend are getting closer and closer to him. And then like his security starts to shift a little bit too. And I just like start having a panic attack. And I like grab her by the arm, and I'm like, girl, I can't do it. Like, I just can't do it. I'm looking at Drake. I'm looking at him. I'm like, he's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And I think I might have like tweeted it that night or something. I was like, oh my God, Drake is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. But I literally almost faint. Like I'm so like, my eyes are like, I don't know how to describe it, but like it's literally like an aha moment. Like if I'm having an epiphany because I see him, and I'm like feeling dizzy. I'm like, oh my God, like that's the love of my life. And I grab her by the arm, and I'm like, I'm gonna fall. Like I'm gonna fall. And this riser is like, I feel like it's like kind of like how choir risers are. Like it's not as like shallow, but like kind of set that way, like 1, 2, 3 levels, and then there's like this back area. So I like, you know, beg her, like, please, let's not get any closer. Because, like, I did want to get closer, but at the same time, I was like, if I get any closer, I'm going to just, like, kiss his face or something, and, like, he's going to, like, have me kicked out of the party. Like, it's going to be real awkward for everyone involved. So I have her take me to the, like, open area behind this stage, where it's just, like, fresh air, and it's, like, out in the open. It's, like, no longer indoors. And I like sit down like by this tree, and like in this open area is all of Diddy's like kids, like just kicking it. And I was just like, I feel like this is not real life. Like I just feel like I'm here, but like, am I actually here? Because I'm seeing people that like you just don't see, and like it's my first time, and I'm just like feeling like I'm gonna jizz myself, okay? If I come any closer to Drake, I'm gonna jizz myself. So I tell my friend, I'm like, I don't want to go back in there. Like I at this point have like drawn a line, and I'm like, I give up. So I tell her, I'm like, let's go back upstairs, because there's like a third level where we were taking pics and stuff before, where there's like these bed swings and like a pool and stuff like that. So up here, by this time, whenever we go up there, Chris Brown and Justin LeBoy and like a whole group of people are like out there. I think they're smoking or something. And then they're getting in the pool, like actually swimming in this pool fully clothed. I'm like, we're all fucked up. Might have been shrooms, no. So we're like looking at them swimming in the pool, and I'm like, is that Justin LeBoy? Like, is that Chris Brown? Like, there's no way. And I think Chris Brown like sees me and my friends, and like sees me in particular, and they start like coming like, you know, around us, like near us, and I'm like having another anxiety attack. I'm like, I just can't, I don't know what it is about it, but I feel like if it was more of a private setting, maybe like not so many people, but they had like a whole group of people there, and then it was like me and my two girlfriends. So I'm like, can we please go in the restroom? So we go into the restroom, we close the door, and who comes knocking on the door? Knock, 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 over and over. Chris. And he's like trying to get us to, he obviously doesn't need to pee. They're swimming in a fucking pool, having a blast. Like, he's trying to say hi to me, and they knew it. And they were like just trying to help me like come out of like whatever I was dealing with. So one of them was like, oh, you know, I have some Adderall if you just need like something like make you feel better. And I remember like taking the pill from her, and I was just like so stoned. I like set the pill down, and I was sitting on top of a washer and dryer in that like closet, and I like set the pill down, and I never even took it. And I remember whenever we came out of there, she was like, girl, you didn't even take the pill. Like, I ended up picking it back up and shoving it in my purse. And I was like, yeah, I know. Like, good thing I didn't. I would have dry humped Drake that night. I might have went home with Chris Brown. I don't know. So at that same party, there was like another area where it was like a kitchen where the dispensary stuff was, like all the weed stuff. And I was like walking through, and then a guy like grabbed me by the arm and was like, oh, you know, who are you? And I was just like, oh, hi, my name's Ariel. And it ended up being Too Short. Like, my friend told me, she was like, you don't know who that is? And I was like, no. And she was like, that's Too Short. And I was like, oh my God. You know, I know Too Short's music, but if you like put him in a line with like pick him out, I'd be like, oh fuck, I haven't seen enough music videos. Where's music video TV today? So yeah, I was like, what? So I did also meet Too Short at that party, which was fun. But yeah. So yeah. And that was like the first time that I like unofficially met Drake. And this is actually Chubb's birthday party. It was a blast. Chubb's invited me to another birthday party. I had so much fun. And I'm also thicker than a Snicker now. I was kind of a little, I looked like a baby then. But Chubbs didn't invite me personally. We got in through the liquor vendor. Her name's Scorpion, and not even vendor. She's like, she literally does everything for everyone. She's amazing. Out in LA, if you get the chance to meet her, literally, she's the best. And she puts on all the events and all that stuff, and she's great. But yeah, so that was really fun. That was like the first time that I like unofficially met Drake and Chubbs, kind of. And then whenever I went on social media, I just started tagging them on everything. And that's how I kind of got to know like who kind of like was in their circle of friends and stuff like that. And then after that party, I remember they were going to the Dominican Republic and actually invited me. And I didn't have my passport. I was in LA without my passport that I had left in Texas. And I still regret that also till this day. Could have been in the DR, partying it up in the summer. And I look good. I mean, those pictures of me in the pink bikini, when I'm on Sunset at the pool, on the rooftop, I'm in like this pink bikini, and I'm wearing like a Chanel fanny pack. That's literally the time. like right after the party where we were at the pool, and I think Drake was throwing a party for his son at the LA house, and it was like a carnival or like something like that, and I was like, I so want to go, like please invite me. I love carnivals, no joke. I really do, actually. They're my favorite. So yeah, that was like the first time that I had met like their whole group of friends and things like that. And then whenever they came to Dallas for the concert, I just like started sending out messages to get into the concert, because I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm in love with Drake. I'm pretty sure he's the love of my life. From the moment I seen him, I kind of just decided. I'm kidding, but by the immediate panic attack, I was like, I don't think I'm ever gonna have that feeling again. It was nice to feel something. So I sent out a bunch of messages to get into the Drake concert, and I did, and it was like so last minute. My friend who came with me, who also was my Botox injectionist at the time, and she was in the grocery store, and I was like, I just got 2 tickets to go to the Drake concert. It starts in like an hour. Where are you? And she was like, I'm in the grocery store. And I was like, put all of your stuff down and go home and get dressed. We're going to the concert, bitch. And we got there, and they couldn't like find my name in the will call at first, and I was like literally in a panic. And okay, so let me tell you about the concert, because I think it's really good to note that like there were backstage passes in my envelope. Okay, I never noticed that they were in there until I want to say like months and months later. I just was like, whatever. So when we get there, me and her, they can't find the tickets at first, so I'm like sending messages like, oh, you know, the tickets are here, what college is it? And then they end up finding them. You know, it's a black envelope with gold writing, with a little gold owl on it. And I had just gotten into a car accident, I want to say like a week before, maybe like a week and a half, and torn a bunch of ligaments. And I was in so much pain. Like for the first, like, I want to say like 5 days after the accident, I was just laid on the sofa until they got me into the physical therapist. The attorneys did. But then when they got me into the physical therapist and they got the x-rays back, they're like, oh yeah, you really have a broken bone. Like they prescribed me all of this stuff. Like I had muscle relaxers that I was on. I had pain relievers that I was on. And I also had started on Lexapro at the same time. I was like taking muscle relaxer, I was taking Lexapro, I was also taking like pain medication as well, because I was in like so much pain from my accident. But I was taking all of that stuff when I went to the Drake concert. I feel like that's what made me kind of more delusional than ever, was the fact that I was on a little bit of muscle relaxer, and like because I didn't listen to the doctor's instructions, I wasn't taking them just at night. Like I was taking like small bits of it in the day too. Like I was just coasting through life, like trying not to feel any pain from my accident because it was that bad. I had just gotten T-boned really hard. I just like could barely even lift my arms unless I was on medication. So I was on a lot of stuff whenever I showed up to the Drake concert. And when I messaged for those tickets, I just was like on a completely different level. I also had some legal edibles from LA that I took with me to the concert that I ate. So I was just on another planet when me and my friend got there, and I feel like she was kind of a little annoyed with the fact that I was like on another level, because she didn't want to drink, like she didn't want to have any edibles. She was kind of just like annoyed with me because I was like so hyperactive and so happy to be there in general. But because I was so happy and so hyperactive and like so on all like this whole like mixture of stuff, I didn't realize that there was 2 lounge passes in the envelope. And I was like, so I also didn't meet him that time when I could have, and he could have been my soulmate. I'm kidding, but I'm not, okay? So yeah, that is how the concert went. After the concert, I just was like kind of bummed because I was like, I really wanted to meet him, and like I'm pretty sure he is my future husband. And at this time, I thought my marriage had been annulled, so I thought I was in the right place at the right time. I thought I had just gotten lucky. But anyways, yeah, so I think that's literally how I've met everyone. And like just the funny stories involving them. I think that if you decide to be adventurous again and just enjoy life for what it is again, you can have adventures just like this one. I mean, it seems like I've lived like 20 lives in all of these stories that I have, and like all of these people that I've met, and like the relationships that I've cultivated in like just a short period of my life. But I wouldn't take it back. I wouldn't take any of it back, that's for sure. I think that I've made all the right decisions, and most of these people, like, I never had physical relationship with. I just, really liked. That's gonna be the full entire episode of Relivious. Hopefully this gives you guys some motivation to get out there and start dating and shoot your shot. You never know. You never really know. Thank you guys so much for watching Relivious. This has been episode 2, and I appreciate you guys taking the time with me today.